The prologue. The Greek classics, the Iliad and the Odyssey, traditionally attributed to Homer, are revered as the oldest poetry known to man, as early as 850 BC. Indian Vedic scholars would dispute these facts. The Ramayana, from their viewpoint, could be as old as 1 million years BC, making the Ramayana the oldest poetry by far. Whatever the true date of origin is, the Ramayana is one of the most emotionally and spiritually moving stories of all time. It is well known all over the Indian subcontinent, lesser so in the Western world. It can be viewed as nothing more than a romantic story. For those who love sci-fi, myths and magic, it is a story of superhuman beings living side by side with humans in a world of mystical forces and incredible superpowers and abilities unknown in this present day, when valor, honor, virtue and truth were considered preeminent. Or, if Ram is accepted as an incarnation of God, then the Ramayana becomes a story of the deepest profundity, a pastime that can touch the soul of the reader, or in this case, the viewer. Originally composed by the great sage and mystic Valmiki, reading, listening, or viewing the Ramayana in any format is said to bestow both spiritual and material benefit. I hope you enjoy this wonderful story. Gopikanta Das. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the devotees of the Lord. All glories to Sita, Ram, Lakshman and Hanuman.
Surely no greater king has ever lived. No one with the love and kindness, strength and courage of King Ram.
The Ramayana.
Twice in the 1980s, I took part in the Ramayana drama with the devotees of ISKCON Detroit. Both dramas were photographed in slide format. Please forgive the quality of the slides as some were damaged over time. I have combined both slideshows to help make a cohesive story. Despite some of the actors being different in each play, I have attempted to make the parts they are playing obvious. If this presentation pleases the devotees of the Lord just a little, I will feel all of my efforts successful. Gopikanta Das.
Long ago, the great and virtuous king Maharaj Dasarath ruled the earth from his throne in the splendid city of Ayodhya. His kingdom was the last stronghold against the evil tyrant Ravana, who had colonized and subjugated planets throughout the universe.
The queens of King Dasarath bore him 4 good sons. The eldest was Ram, a most powerful young man, handsome and virtuous. He was loved by everyone.
Our story begins in the city of Mithila. King Janak, who ruled over the city, had arranged to marry his beautiful daughter Sita to anyone who could bend his gigantic bow, formerly owned by Lord Shiva. A whole year had passed with no success. The Swayamvara ritual invited kings and princes from near and far to come and be evaluated by passing this test of strength. The winner would marry Princess Sita. After many more failed attempts, Prince Ram stepped up. As Sita watched Prince Ram, she felt her natural love for him awakening. All of Sita's life she had prayed to be married to Lord Vishnu. Could this be him? A gasp of astonishment filled the arena as Prince Ram grabbed the bow and raised it above his head. Would Prince Ram string the bow and become her husband? Sita stood up with great excitement, holding the marriage garland in her hands. Then, in the process of bending the bow to string it, it snapped with an almighty crack. King Janak was overjoyed. Sita was delighted, and with her father's permission, she placed the marriage garland around Prince Ram's neck. The marriage was arranged immediately, and King Dasarath came from Ayodhya, accompanied by the rest of his family and a mighty army. On the way back to Ayodhya, the army, headed by King Dasarath and his sons, was suddenly confronted by the terrible sage Parashuram. Although a Brahmin priest, he was famous for his fighting ability, having single-handedly overcome the entire world's warriors in a previous age. Holding an even bigger bow which he claimed belonged to Krishna, he challenged Ram to take the bow and the celestial arrow and pull the bowstring once to its full length. Parasuram did not realize that this was indeed Vishnu himself. Seizing the bow and arrow, Prince Ram strung it instantly, pulled back the string, and pointed it at Parasuram. "Where shall I fire this deadly arrow, great sage?" Parasuram, realizing Ram's identity, said, "You must indeed be Vishnu himself. I accept defeat. Release the arrow and burn all my material desires. I only wish to serve you." Ram released the arrow and the sage vanished.
Dasarath decided to enthrone his powerful, heroic son, Ramchandra, as his successor to protect his citizens. On the very day of his coronation, Ram's selfish stepmother, Kaikeyi, forced Dasarath to banish Ram to the dangerous Dandaka forest, just so her own son, Bharat, would be crowned in his place.
Previously, Kaikeyi had saved King Dasarath's life on the battlefield. Because of this, he granted her 2 lifelong boons. Her evil maid Manthara convinced her that both her and Bharat would suffer under King Ram. "Ask for the 2 boons before Ram's coronation," Manthara cried. Kaikeyi asked the king, 1. To replace Ram with her own son Bharat, 2. To banish Ram to the forest for 14 years. King Dasarath tried in vain to dissuade his youngest wife Kaikeyi to change her mind. He cried out, "Bound with the strong cords of morality, I am helpless. My judgment fails me, and in this evil hour I must confront my son. Send for Ram." When Rama entered the room, he could immediately see the distress on his father's tearful face. After paying his respects, he inquired as to the reason for his dear father's affliction. Kaikeyi said, "The king is too grief-stricken to talk. If you will do whatever the king desires, good or bad, then I shall explain everything to you." Rama replied, "I would leap into the fire of hell if he so desired. Tell me, what is it he wishes? Rama's word is always truth." Kaikeyi said, "Let my son Bharat be crowned king, and while he undertakes this task, you shall travel and remain for 14 years in the Dandaka forest." Rama's father wept at these words. Despite this, Rama did not give in to grief. He said, "So be it. I shall wear the dress of a renunciant and leave forthwith. I must honor my father's promise." Rama continued, "Please reassure my father, for seeing him in this condition pains me greatly." The news spread quickly, and soon everyone was grief-stricken. Rama consoled his mother and then went to see his beautiful wife, Sita.
"Sita, my dearest Sita, please no more. Brother Lakshman, tell Sita of the dangers that lurk in the gloom of Dandaka forest. It is no place for a princess."
Then I shall not be a princess.
You are a princess. A life of soft beds and royal comforts is all you've ever known. Lakshman, tell her.
The forest leaves will be my soft bed, and being with you is all the comfort I'll ever need. It will be wonderful, Ram. We can walk together along the forest paths and swim in sheltered streams.
Sita, there are no paths in Dandaka, and the streams are full of crocodiles. Lakshman.
Lakshman, I cannot be separated from Ram, and although he seems not to feel the same...
It is because I love you that I ask you to stay.
Then don't love me, and I shall come with you.
Listen, Sita, I want you to look after my mother while I'm away.
She said I could come with you.
Speak to her, Lakshman.
Lakshman, please, persuade Ram it will be safe for me to come with him.
I think Sita is right.
Right?
She will be in no danger. I can protect you both.
Lakshman, what are you saying? You're not coming too.
Of course I am. I could never be apart from my beloved brother.
Bharat was not even present to witness all these events. He was living at his uncle's, and messengers were sent to bring him back. Rama genuinely felt no malice towards his stepmother Kaikeyi, considering everything that had happened to be nothing more than acts of providence. And so the time came for their departure, and although both of Ram's parents were still extremely distraught, he felt morally bound to honour his father's promises. They all changed into the ascetic clothes prepared by Kaikeyi. The citizens lined the streets to say their farewells, many still angry at the shocking turn of events. Thousands followed the chariot for miles, and even camped out when night came. Rama had to sneak away before dawn. Their 14-year exile was just beginning. After crossing the sacred Ganges and Jamuna rivers, on the advice of the sage Bharadwaj, they headed on foot towards the Chitrakoot mountain, some 50 miles away. Sadly, the separation from his son was just too much for King Dasarath, who passed away. On returning to Ayodhya and learning of his father's death and the banishment of his dear brother Ram, Bharat was furious. His mother's actions in his eyes were unforgivable. She had not realized how devoted he was to his brother Ram. He wept loudly. Bharat's younger brother Satrughna angrily attacked the maidservant Manthara and began to drag her around by her hair. Bharat stopped him, but consented that he would have done the same to his mother had he not been aware that Rama would have been appalled at such behaviour. Bharat refused to rule the kingdom and decided that after the funeral of his father, he would bring Rama back. Rama welcomed his brother to his Chitrakoot ashram, but he was not so easily swayed to return to Ayodhya. Despite many different logical and scriptural arguments, Rama was fixed in his duty to honour his father's promises. Rama countered their arguments with his own scriptural references. In the end, Bharat asked for Ram's sandals to place on the throne until his return. He agreed to rule the kingdom while Ram was absent, but only while living outside the city like an ascetic. Rama said, "So be it. Bharat, your humility and wisdom will protect the entire earth planet in my absence." Bharat then returned to Ayodhya. After meeting with various sages, they eventually went to visit the great sage Agastya. He presented them with an invincible golden bow and 2 magical quivers filled with sharp arrows that would never run out. Rama asked him to advise them of a peaceful place to live. Agastya replied, "I have understood through meditation your real purpose here, and I therefore advise you to travel to the nearby forest of Panchavati. There, your desires will be fulfilled."
On their way to Panchavati, they came upon a huge creature perched in a big tree. Ram took him to be a demon.
Lakshman, take care. Demon, beware the power of my invincible bow.
Ah, my dear child, do not kill me, for I am an ancient friend of your father. I'm just an old eagle named Jatayu. please allow me to help you during your stay in the forest? Perhaps I could protect Sita whenever you go hunting. Wah! Wah!
Dear Jatayu, I thank you for your offer and look forward to a long and lasting friendship with you. Come now to the place where we will build our new home. You can live in a tree nearby.
Wah! Thank you, Ram, thank you. Wah! Wah!
On arriving in Panchavati, Ram selected a spot near the river Godavari.
Panchavati proved to be truly beautiful, and Ram was thrilled to make his new home there. Lakshman gathered together branches and logs and constructed a cottage. There they lived in the tranquil atmosphere of the forest, along with the deer, the trees, the flowers, and the sweetly singing birds.
Life is so sublime, now we are living in a simple little cottage in the forest. While away the time, sweet storytelling in a simple little cottage in the forest. Dressed in fresh clean clothes, we're strolled together, eating the fruits and the berries of the trees, gathering up the sweetly scented flowers. We hear the songs of the birds as they glide in the breeze. Flowing free and fast, a clear cool river, where the
Look how much honey I collected from the bees.
They must know it's a special day.
Special?
It is exactly 13 years since we were exiled to this forest.
Then we only have 1 year left. Ram, did you hear? Soon we shall return to Ayodhya, and you shall take your rightful place on the throne.
Ram, why don't you put down your bow?
My brother, you have killed so many demons which are stalking this forest. No Rakshasa would dare come within 1,000 yojanas of us.
Lakshman, we should still be cautious. The evil powers which threatened our forest have not yet been eliminated. Wait. Listen.
Someone is coming.
Yes! Oh! Now he is just what I am looking for! He moves like a lion! Broad chest! Perfect limbs! Usually when I see a man, I want to taste his flesh! But this man is worthy to share my bed! I must change my form, so that he will not be able to resist me! There! That's much better. Oh, best of man!
Ram, be careful.
Oh, handsome creature who shines like a jewel in a dark cave! Who is that insipid, skinny wretch who clings to you like a leash?
This is my lovely wife, Sita.
Your wife? I am curious. Who are you? Your settlement betrays the many years you must have spent languishing in this miserable jungle. But to what purpose?
My name is Ram, son of Dasarath. I'm here to uphold my father's honor. He gave a promise to my stepmother, and out of duty I am fulfilling his vow.
Oh, vows, duties, and promises. How quaint, how very quaint. Ram, you're wasting your life here. Come with me, and I'll show you real enjoyment.
As I explained, I'm already married. Rivalry among co-wives is always unbearable. My younger brother, however, is quite good-looking, and he does not yet have a consort. I'm sure he would be more than delighted to share the rest of his life with such a gorgeous temptress as yourself.
Ram!
Lakshman, yes! I could see myself falling deeply for you, holding you, caressing you. We could roam the forests and mountains enjoying ourselves and each other. Please come with me. My beauty makes me worthy of you.
But why should you, oh heavenly damsel, be the wife of a slave such as I, who am but a menial servant of my valiant brother Ram? You know, he told me only yesterday, in confidence of course, that he's grown tired of this pallid and crotchety old woman. And since her looks are incomparable with your ravishing beauty...
How dare you ridicule me, Sorbanak, sister of the mighty Ravana! I shall devour this hideous wretch!
Back, you ogress, or I shall kill you!
I will devour her!
I warn you!
Lakshman, you can't kill a woman. Cut off her nose. Mild punishment for her murderous crimes. She won't be alone. We must prepare to fight.
Ram, what have we done?
Lakshman, take Sita to a mountain cave. Don't let her out of your sight.
Rakshasas! thousands of them, heading straight for us. Ram, I must stay and fight with you.
I will deal with them myself, Lakshman. But Ram, there is no time to argue. Do as I say. Now, you Rakshasas, feel the force of my arrows!
One of Surpanaka's brothers, the General Kara, drove a beautifully carved 8-wheeled golden chariot. He led an army of 14,000 Rakshasa warriors, and they attacked Ram with great ferocity. Screaming ferocious battle cries, they rushed towards him, some holding clubs, others huge axes, others maces, swords, scimitars, bows and arrows. Some were on foot, some on horseback, some on massive armoured elephants, and some with magical abilities flew through the air. Rama moved with lightning speed, firing salvos of arrows into the sky in all directions. He spun round and round in a circle, faster than the eye could see. Each gold-tipped arrow zipped through 10 or more Rakshasas before hitting the ground. Weapons and chariots were smashed by the stream of endless arrows emanating from Ram's bow, like the sunshine emanating from the sun planet. Thousands of horses, elephants and Rakshasas, arms broken, heads severed, bodies smashed, lay lifeless on the ground amidst a river of blood. It looked like a forest of trees flattened by a tornado. All lay dead. Generals, lieutenants, warriors of every shape and size, all slain. Mighty and powerful warriors like Dushana, Trishara and Kara lay motionless on the battlefield. Celestial drums were heard in the sky, and a shower of flowers fell around Ram. Agastya suddenly appeared in the sky and thanked Ram for clearing the area of the demonic influences. Lakshman returned with Sita, who embraced Rama tightly, crying joyous tears. Carnivorous beasts swooped onto the battlefield. Meanwhile, over in the golden city of Lanka, Ravan, king of the Rakshasa race, enjoyed his life, full of pleasures. Indrajit, my beloved son, am I not just so expert a player? Am I not? Am I not? Yes, yes, of course, my dear father. I mean your highness, I mean your lordship. You're the best in the 3 worlds. Huh? Just the 3 worlds? What about the rest of the worlds? I'm bored with this. Fetch me some food immediately. Chanters, chant for me. Your food, sir. I mean your lordship. Let me see, what have you got here? Sweets, I don't like sweets. That's for the Brahmins. Can't you do anything right? Ah, no good music, no good food. Send for my dancers. Indrajit, what is she doing, sitting on the floor? I think it's called Bharatnatyam or something. This is nonsense. Chanters, stop chanting. Play some dance music. Dance for me, woman. Dance for me properly. Yes, this is much better. Faster. Twirl faster. I am so bored. Indrajit, fetch my handmaidens. Meet me in my throne room. I'm going for a bath and changing into fresh clothes. Everything is so boring.
Lord Shiva, destroyer of all the worlds, by my austerities, you have been forced to make me immortal. I am the Lord of Time, the consumer of cosmic fire, the death of death itself. Now, the universe must bow to me, Ravana!
Let me in. I want to see my brother.
Not now!
I must see him.
Busy! I told you, go away!
I want to see him.
Busy! Go away!
What is this disturbance, Indrajit?
Father! It is Shopanika. She wants to see you!
Shopanika? But she was instructed to remain in Dandaka, to terrorize and murder its inhabitants. Why is she not there with Kara?
She says Kara is dead!
My brother? Dead?
Along with his entire army!
14,000 soldiers?
The sages are now free to perform their sacrifices to Vishnu!
No! Who seeks his own destruction so badly he dares exterminate my people? No one will be able to protect him. Not even Indra, the king of heaven.
Father, Shopanika is quite hysterical. You better see her.
Yes, bring her in.
Ravana! Look at me! Look what has happened while you wallow in the pleasures of your filthy harem! Look at my face!
Guard, call the royal physician. My sister is wounded.
Let me tell you, Ravana, you are in great danger. You have an enemy by the name of Ramachandra, son of Dasarath.
Dasarath? King of Ayodhya?
I told you we should have wiped mankind off this planet long ago.
So masterful in battle, such strength, such valor. He has a brother, Lakshman, who is also very powerful.
Are you saying the son of a human king killed our brother? Kara was invincible in battle. Did this Ramchandra command the celestial armies of the demigods to slay him?
He had no armies. He fought alone.
That's not possible.
So great was his prowess with a bow that arrows flowed from him like deadly waves into the ranks of your soldiers. Kara fought bravely, but he was no match for Ram's might.
Indrajit, have 3 Akshahini divisions prepared and ready to march at dawn. I will kill Ram myself.
Ravana! I have a better idea. Something that will hurt him more than any blade or arrow. But you must promise me that when you capture Ram, he will be mine.
I promise you nothing. Nothing! Now you tell me what sick contrivance your twisted mind has conjured, or I shall have no further use for you. Do you understand?
What about Lakshman?
No promises. Now speak!
All right. Ravana, she is more radiant than the sun. Perfect features, skin so pure, so soft. Her charms rival those of the goddess of love, Ramachandra's consort, Sita. She would certainly make the perfect queen for you, my brother, and her loss to Ram would be revenge indeed. But you must act quickly!
Prepare my aerial chariot. Summon the sorcerer Maricha to the palace immediately. I have a plan of my own.
Ravan had a golden chariot drawn by mules which could fly in the sky. He used this extraordinary machine to fly to the den of Maricha the magician, who could assume any form at will. Maricha agreed to help Ravan in his wicked plans. Soon, the magician and the 10-headed demon king were passing over cities, mountains, and rivers until finally they reached Panchavati and Ram's cottage. The magician, Maricha, assumed the form of a golden deer. Sita was gathering flowers when she espied the creature. She was spellbound by its wondrous beauty.
What a beautiful deer! How delightful you are! Come here! There! No, wait! Oh, Ram! Lakshman! Come quickly, look!
What is it, Sita?
Look at that beautiful fawn. It's so adorable. Please, catch it for me, Ram. Come here. Come on.
Lakshman, have you ever seen a deer like that before? Look at its horns. inlaid with gems, and its coat the color of purest gold.
Yes, and the other forest creatures seem disturbed by its presence.
Hurry, Ram, before it goes.
Lakshman, I want you to stay here.
But Ram, this may be the trick of some demon.
Ram, please, it's going to go away.
Lakshman, under no circumstances should you leave Sita alone.
I do hope he catches it.
Ram took off in pursuit of the mysterious golden deer, leaving Sita and Lakshman at the cottage. As soon as Ram approached the deer, it bounded off into the forest, acting just like a real deer, nervously glancing here and there. Rama ended up several miles from their cottage. Lakshman was right, this was no deer, a demon in disguise. Rama took out a celestial arrow and fired it straight and true towards the deer. As the arrow hit its target, piercing its heart, the demon cried out in a voice that sounded just like Rama and carried for miles.
Lakshman! Sita! Help me!
Lakshman! That was Ram! Go and help him!
Help Ram?
That was your brother calling for help! You must go to his aid! Lakshman, what's wrong? Why don't you go to help your brother?
Don't be frightened. Your husband is quite capable of looking after himself. There's no demon, demigod, or ogre that could possibly threaten Ram.
Now I see. It's unbelievable. All these years you've just been waiting for the right opportunity to enjoy me. Well, it's to no avail, for I shall never love anyone other than Ram.
Sita! Your words are like a serpent's bite! How could you ever say such a thing?
Then prove me wrong, and go and help Ram.
All right, I'll go. But you must stay within the protection of this magic circle.
How still the air has suddenly become. There is not even the slightest breeze. Everything is hushed, motionless, suffocating. The birds, the crickets, even the river Godavari have become silent. Oh, Ram! Lakshman! Hurry back! Please!
Now I have you!
Ram!
See, Lakshman, your suspicions were right.
Well done, Ram!
Your hopes will be short-lived, you fools!
What did he say, Ram?
Lakshman, where is Sita?
She heard your cries for help. She forced me to go after you.
That wasn't me! We must get back to her!